Ollie, a really rough day, obviously. What's your reflection on it?
Darkest day I've had as a player, as a manager, and you're in a state of course you're really disappointed. We're almost shocked with the you can't be shocked in anything in football really, but to concede 5 goals is so disappointing. But it happened, and you've got to face it.
What can you do when it gets to half time when it's 4-0? How can you?
Half time is, you see everyone there running their socks off second half to make sure that we come out of it as well as we can from a difficult situation. When we go down to 10 men, they're still running around defending that goal, trying to score ourselves as well. But the 4th goal was the nail in the coffin just before, because if you go into a game with these players having to score every 15 minutes to get a result, sometimes I believe they can do it, but on 4 that's too much.
Harry, obviously a horrible day for the club. What's your view of what happened?
Yeah, disappointed, hurt. The lads are devastated in the changing room, the atmosphere obviously. Yeah, first and foremost apologies to the fans. We need to do better. It's not good enough. They deserve more. I mean, when we're coming off the pitch at 5-0 against our rivals and the Stretford end still singing, we obviously appreciate that, but deep down we know ourselves we've got to do more.
The margins are tight in football, because obviously Bruno had a good chance to make it 1-0. If that goes in, things change. Then all of a sudden the game turns on its head.
Yeah, of course, especially in these big games, it's fine margins, and I think you've seen a game where in the first half they were so clinical. They punished us every attack that they went forward. We had a lot of chances ourselves, and obviously we could score goals. If you watch the game, it could quite easily be a high-scoring first half. But I'm not here to analyse. I'm not here to look at the game. I know it's not good enough. Conceding goals at Old Trafford is not something that this club should do, like we've been doing in recent weeks. So I look at myself, I'll go home, I'm the captain of this club and I lead the boys, so I'll go home, I'll look at myself. I'm not going to blame anyone else apart from myself. And then I look at us as a group and as a collective, and we need to stick together, but for sure we need to find a way to improve.
One player worth mentioning maybe was David De Gea, who, despite the result, kept his standards pretty high in the game.
Individually and collectively we weren't good enough, but David, of course, he makes a few saves that keeps the scoreline down a little bit, but then everyone out there did their best to keep it down second half.
But how difficult is it for you and your coaching staff there on the bench when it's happening in front of you?
It's difficult, Early on I felt we started sloppy and maybe a bit, we were not confident enough, not trusting ourselves. We gave the ball away, we kicked it out the first 3 or 4 minutes. Then we get the big massive opening, good attack, one with the keeper. We don't take it. They then score on their first chance, and they score on their second chance, and then 2-0 down. You have to go for it. You have to, because you can't lay down and wait for or just keep it to 2-0. And we had chances. They had chances, and they took theirs. We didn't.
With the 5-0 or 5 minutes into the second half, at that point, what can you do? What is the objective at that point?
Yeah, you're playing for pride. We spoke about at half time. Obviously, a lot of words went off at half time, and something that it will stay within the dressing room as it should do. To concede so soon after the first half was in a goal in terms of what we lose the ball in the midfield, and then all of a sudden one pass and they're in on our goal. It's not acceptable. That part of the defensive display. So we've got to improve. We know that. And like you say, obviously the red card forces us into having to sit back and just keep onto a clean sheet from the remainder of the game.
It's obviously going to be a long week ahead. In a way, would you rather be playing on like Wednesday night rather than waiting till next weekend to try and get it out of your system?
Yeah, of course. I think obviously mentally for the lads, I think it will hurt. These are the big games that you come to this club and you want to play in, so it's going to hurt, of course. But I think everyone needs to look at themselves in the mirror, look what they can do better, and then stick together as a group, stick together as a unit. And obviously, we much prefer a game in midweek, but that's not to be. And we've got a week now to make sure we put things right. It's still early on in the season. We've still got a lot of things to try and go and win. But like I say, I just keep going back to the phrase that today it just wasn't good enough.
And I mean, at the end, the fans there in that corner are cheering
They're
players
they're
off.
brilliant. They could have obviously turned on the team, but they don't. They just don't. They never do. And of course they're edgy and they're disappointed, but you know, they stayed until the end to support them, which is fantastic. And we have to thank them for that, because human nature, it might tell you to, and you're angry and you might have a go, but they always back the players. They always back the team.
Now, obviously, a long week ahead. But would you almost prefer a midweek game to get out of this system, or?
Yeah, sometimes you think get us on the pitch again, but we need to. We need time to work on players and everyone's minds. That's the truth. That's human beings now. You're rock bottom, and it can go anyway, really. But I trust these boys to have a go, to do it the right way, and to be ready for Saturday.
You touched on it finally. There can't be many clubs when you've had that result to your bitterest rivals and you walk off the field to applause. Incredible, really, isn't it?
Well, that sums our fans up, to be honest. Whether we win, whether we lose, you still see, you walk off the pitch and the Stretford end there is still singing and chanting, and that's why I want to apologise to them, because they deserve better. They should be singing and cheering in a different way, that they're really proud of a great performance from the team. So listen, we're all doing everything we can. This week we'll do everything we can to improve, to prepare, and next Saturday when the game comes, we've got to make sure that we give them something to cheer about.
And do you need to be lifted as well? I mean, who lifts the manager? I mean, you lift the players, but
you don't. You're not a robot. Of course, I'm devastated, and I'm as low as I've ever been at this. When I've been at this fantastic club, but we have had dark days here before, and we've always bounced back, and I will always bounce back, no matter what the situation is now. I try to look at it positively. What can you do about it? And that's the way I've got to look at it.